Leo stood quietly as the alien warriors surrounded him. His wrists were tied behind his back with thick vines that hummed with energy. He had crash-landed on their planet just 2 days ago. Now he was their prisoner, standing in the middle of a circle made of stone, watched by dozens of tall, armored aliens. Their skin was a mix of violet and bronze. Their eyes glowed like embers. And each one looked stronger than any human soldier Leo had ever seen. At the center of them all stood their leader, a tall, powerful woman with sharp armor and long white hair. Her name was Varea, and she was known as the fiercest commander of her people. Her voice carried through the air like thunder when she spoke. "You will kneel before me?" she said coldly, her eyes locked onto Leo's. Leo looked up at her. His knees unbent and gave her a small, calm smile. "No," he said simply. A hush spread through the warriors. No one had ever said that to her before. Varea narrowed her eyes, expecting him to beg or break. But Leo remained steady, not angry, not scared. She stepped forward, her heavy boots crunching the dry red soil beneath them. "You are on our land. You are our prisoner. You defy the order of a warrior queen?" Leo shrugged slightly, though his hands were still tied. "You asked me to kneel. You didn't ask me to talk." Some of the warriors chuckled. Others looked shocked. No one dared laugh at their queen, but Varea didn't seem angry. In fact, something flickered in her gaze. Curiosity. "You are either." "Very brave," she said, circling him like a lion, "or very foolish." "I've been called both," Leo replied, standing tall. She stopped in front of him again. "You crashed here by mistake. You are not part of the war. And yet you carry no fear. Why?" Leo looked around at the warriors, then back at her. "Because fear is a choice. And I've seen worse than this." Varea stared at him for a long moment, then she gave a signal with her hand. A warrior stepped forward and cut the bindings on Leo's wrists. The rope hissed as it dropped to the ground. Leo stretched his arms, but didn't run. He just stood still. "You are not what I expected from a human," Varea said. "Most of your kind beg. Some try to fight. You smile." "I've learned it confuses people," Leo said, a grin still on his face. This time, a few of the warriors openly laughed. Varea raised her hand, and the circle of warriors fell silent. "Then I give you a choice. Kneel now, and we may let you go, or refuse, and you must prove yourself." Leo tilted his head. "How?" Varea stepped back and pointed toward a nearby hill. "There is a path that leads into our trial grounds. If you take it and survive the course, you will earn our respect. If you fail, no one will speak your name again." Leo looked at the path. It was narrow and twisted, filled with smoke, tall trees, and strange animal cries. It didn't look friendly. "I assume there's no option 3? He asked. Varea smiled, just a little. "Option 3 was kneeling," Leo nodded. "Then I'll take the path." The warriors began to murmur again. One of them, larger than the rest, stepped forward. "He won't survive the trial grounds. He's just flesh and bone." Varea raised her hand again. "Enough, let him go. If he lives, then the trial chooses him." Leo walked past Varea without hesitation. Her eyes followed him all the way to the edge of the path. Before entering the forest, he turned slightly and called out over his shoulder. "You know," he said, "in my world we don't kneel easily, but we do stand up for what's right." Then he disappeared into the shadows of the trees. Varea stood in silence. Her warriors waited for her command, but she said nothing. Her eyes remained fixed on the path. "He is strange," one of her captains said. "Yes," Varea answered, voice soft. "And I want to know why." The forest swallowed Leo in seconds. The tall trees twisted above him like arms reaching for the sky. The air was heavy and warm. Every sound was sharp chirping, growling, distant roars. He moved slowly, carefully, keeping his steps light. He had no weapons, just his clothes, his brain, and the confidence that refusing to kneel had given him. The trial grounds were not just a test of strength, they were a test of mind, will, and instinct. Varea had not told him that. But he could feel it. The first challenge came quickly. A small bridge stretched across a deep pit. The bridge looked old and weak. As he stepped closer, he saw 2 creatures waiting underneath. their eyes watching him from below, waiting for me to fall. Leo whispered. He grabbed a broken branch and tossed it onto the bridge. It snapped through the middle and fell. Figures? Instead of crossing, Leo looked around. Nearby, he saw vines hanging from the trees. He climbed up one, testing the weight. Strong enough? He swung across the pit and landed safely on the other side. As he caught his breath, he heard movement. From the shadows, 3 beast-like creatures came forward. They looked like wolves with thick scales instead of fur. Their eyes glowed orange and they growled as they closed in. Leo didn't panic. He grabbed a long stick from the ground and lit the end using 2 sharp rocks he rubbed quickly together. Sparks flew. Fire roared. The creatures paused. Then they backed away. Even monsters understand fire, Leo said, moving forward again. Back at the warrior camp, Varea stood on the platform, arms crossed, eyes still watching the forest entrance. Several warriors were whispering around her. He'll never come back, one said. He's a human, weak. Why does the queen even care? Varea turned to them. Because he refused to kneel, that means something. Her second-in-command, Yari, stepped closer. With respect, Queen, why does his pride matter? It's not pride, she answered. It's choice. He chose to face death rather than lower himself. That deserves our attention. The others fell silent. Meanwhile, Leo reached the second part of the trial grounds. A wide-open field, full of stones shaped like eggs. He stepped carefully, but the ground shifted. Suddenly, darts flew from hidden holes. He rolled and ducked, barely missing a dart that buried itself in a nearby tree. Okay, he muttered, these people don't play around. He used a broken rock to tap the stones ahead, triggering more darts from a distance. Then, moving low and fast, he weaved through the path. His heart pounded. A small cut opened on his leg from a graze, but he kept moving. By the end of the field, he was sweating, tired, and bleeding, but still standing. That's when he heard a voice. You survived the darts. Impressive. Leo turned. A female warrior stood there, tall and silent. She held a staff and wore a silver helmet. Her name was Sira. She was part of the hidden trial. Do I get to rest now? Leo joked. She didn't laugh. You must pass me to leave this place. Fight or fail, Leo sighed. Of course. Sira moved quickly, striking first. Leo ducked and rolled, grabbing a piece of sharp metal from the ground. He didn't try to match her strength. Instead, he dodged and used her momentum against her. She swung high, he ducked low. She struck down, he stepped aside. Finally, as she raised her staff again, Leo used his broken metal shard to pin it into the dirt. She lost her balance. He didn't attack. He stepped back and let her stand. Sira looked at him, confused. You had the chance. Why didn't you strike? Leo replied, because I didn't come here to hurt anyone. I came to survive. And maybe show you I'm not what you think. Sira stared at him for a long time. Then she bowed. You may pass. Hours later, the forest opened again. The camp saw movement near the path. Leo walked out muddy, bruised, tired but alive. The warriors gasped. Varea stepped forward slowly. Her face was unreadable. You made it through the trials. Leo nodded. Your forest is mean. One of the warriors stepped forward and laughed. He jokes after surviving. Varea raised her hand for silence. And you didn't kneel. Leo looked her in the eye. Still won't. A small smile touched her lips. Then maybe we were wrong about humans. The crowd watched, quiet and surprised. Varea spoke louder for all to hear. This human passed the trial grounds, not with strength. Not with power, but with wit, heart, and calm. He is not a slave. He is not a prisoner. He is now a guest. The warriors looked at each other, unsure at first. Then one by one, they began to nod. Leo took a deep breath. He had no idea what would happen next, but he knew everything had changed. And somewhere deep inside, even Varea felt it too. Leo sat near a fire in the middle of the alien camp. His clothes were torn, his leg wrapped in a clean bandage made from strange, glowing leaves. Some warriors watched him with respect. Others watched him with suspicion. He could feel it, the tension in the air. Not everyone was happy he had survived. A young warrior brought him food. It was warm, thick, and smelled like spicy herbs. "Thanks," Leo said. The warrior nodded, but didn't speak. She walked away quickly. Across the fire circle, Vareya stood. With her second-in-command, Yari, the two spoke in quiet voices. "The council won't like this," Yari warned. "A human passing our sacred trial, it makes us look weak." Vareya kept her eyes on Leo. He didn't win by breaking things. He won by thinking. "That's a strength we often forget," Yari frowned. "The old traditions won't accept him." "Then maybe the old traditions need to be challenged," Vareya said calmly. Later that evening, Leo was invited to stand before the Council of Blade's 5 elders who ruled the warrior clans. The meeting was held inside a tall stone hall built from black rock and burning crystal torches. Vareya stood beside him, but slightly behind. This was his moment to speak. The first elder, with a voice like stone, asked, "Why did you refuse?" "To kneel, human?" Leo looked around the hall. All eyes were on him. He spoke slowly, clearly. "Where I come from, kneeling is a choice. It means respect, not fear. I didn't kneel because I didn't come here to show weakness. I came to stand, to learn, and maybe to help." A second elder narrowed her eyes. "Help? Why would we need help from someone weaker than us?" Leo didn't flinch. "Because strength is not only in the arms, it's in the mind, and sometimes in the heart." There was silence. The third elder scoffed. "Your words are soft." "Softness has no place in war." Leo took a deep breath. "Softness isn't weakness. It's control. It's choosing not to strike when you don't have to." Vareya stepped forward now. "He passed the trial, and even then, he showed mercy. That deserves our respect." One of the elders nodded slightly. "Perhaps, but not all agree." The doors slammed open. A large figure entered Tharek. He was a feared commander, taller than any other warrior, with thick black armor and sharp eyes. "This is foolishness," Tharek shouted. "A human gains honor among us." "You insult every warrior who bled for this tribe." The council grew silent. Tharek stepped toward Leo. "I challenge this outsider," he said. "Let him prove his worth in a real test against me." Vareya stepped in front of Leo. "No, you want to fight, challenge me." But Leo touched her shoulder gently. "It's okay." She looked at him. "He'll crush you," Leo gave a small smile. "Not if I don't play by his rules." The next day, a large crowd gathered in the arena outside the camp. Warriors filled the stone seats, ready to watch the challenge. Leo stood in the center, without armor. Tharek, in full gear, stood across from him with a thick battle staff. "You will regret this, human." Tharek growled. Leo didn't reply. The bell rang. Tharek charged, swinging hard. Leo ducked and rolled, staying out of reach. The alien crowd booed, thinking he was just running. But then Leo grabbed a handful of dust and threw it into Tharek's eyes. The large warrior stumbled. Leo rushed in, used Tharek's leg as a step, and jumped onto his back. Pulling at the armor joints, Tharek threw him off and growled louder. They danced again, Leo dodging, Tharek swinging. Finally, Leo found a weak point in the armor, a strap near the shoulder, and pulled it hard. The armor fell off one side. Now Tharek was slower, tired, angry. Leo didn't go for the final hit. He stepped back. "I don't want to beat you," Leo said. "I want you to see that you don't need to destroy what you don't understand." Tharek stood, breathing hard, but said nothing. The council rose. "Enough," one elder said. "This human has courage." "And wisdom." Cheers began to rise. Warriors nodded. Even those who doubted started to whisper with respect. That night, Vareya sat beside Leo near the fire again. "You could have won," she said, "but you chose to stop." "I didn't need to win," Leo said. "I just needed them to listen." Vareya looked into the flames. "You're not like any human I've heard of. Maybe you just haven't met the right ones." Leo replied with a smile. For the first time, Vareya laughed softly. And in that moment, something shifted between them, not as warrior and guest, but as two people beginning to understand each other. But deep in the shadows of the camp, Tharek watched with narrowed eyes. His pride was wounded. And pride, when hurt, becomes dangerous. The sky above the alien camp was purple and quiet. Twin moons floated gently overhead. Most of the warriors had gone to sleep, but Leo couldn't. His body was still sore from the arena, and his mind was even more restless. He sat near the fire, again staring at the sparks. Suddenly he heard soft footsteps behind him. She didn't speak at first. She simply sat beside him and looked into the flames with the same serious expression she always wore. You should be resting, she said at last. Leo gave a tired smile. Could say the same to you. She gave a short nod. You surprised us all today? I'm getting used to that, Leo said. But I think Tharic will try something again. Virea looked at him sharply. He will not dare, not now. Leo raised an eyebrow. You sure? Virea paused. No, I'm not. There was silence again. The crackle of fire filled the air. Leo looked at her. Why did you really let me take the trial? You could have ended it all the moment I said no. Virea took a deep breath. For once she let her voice soften, because I once met someone who said no to me too. He was not a human, he was one of our own, a healer. During the war, I ordered him to harm an enemy prisoner. He refused. He said hurting others without reason made us less. Leo looked surprised. What happened to him? I reported him. She said, her voice cold again. He was punished, exiled. Leo didn't speak. He could see the regret in her eyes. I thought I was right back then, she continued. I believed that loyalty meant obeying every order. But I see now? He was stronger than me. And now? Leo asked gently. Now I wonder what kind of leader I've become, she whispered. Leo leaned forward. You're not weak for changing your mind. You're strong for questioning it. Virea looked at him with new eyes. Not as an outsider, not as a warrior, but as someone who truly saw her. Come, she said suddenly. I want to show you something. They walked far from the camp into the quiet hills. Stars lit their path. Eventually they reached a large, flat stone surrounded by ancient carvings. The place felt sacred. This is the first circle, Virea said. Our oldest place of peace. No warrior may lie or harm in this space. Leo stepped onto the stone slowly, feeling the energy in the air. I come here when I doubt myself, she admitted. Leo looked at the symbols. They showed scenes of warriors not fighting, but working together, teaching, healing, building. This isn't a war place, Leo said. No, Virea replied. This is where our people began before we became only warriors. Leo turned to her. Do your people remember that? She shook her head. Many have forgotten. Strength became everything. Weakness became shame. Maybe that's why I was brought here, Leo said. Not just by crash, but by purpose. To remind you of something you forgot. Virea looked at him, really looked. You think you can fix my people? Leo smiled. No, but I can start a spark. And sometimes sparks become stars. Virea didn't smile. But she stepped closer. You don't fear me. No, Leo said. Why? Because I see you, he answered. Not just the armor, not the strength. I see the person behind it. Something passed between them. A moment of quiet understanding. No words, no orders. Just truth. Virea stepped back and nodded. You've earned something rare, human. My trust. Leo bowed his head slightly. And you've earned mine. The next morning, things were not so calm. A message arrived that the Camp 1 of the outer villages had been attacked. The signs were clear. A rogue warrior group, once loyal to Tharic, had broken away and struck without permission. Virea's eyes burned with anger. They act in my name, but follow Tharic's beliefs. She turned to Leo. I need to go there myself. Will you come with me? Leo blinked. You want me with you? I want their eyes to see that I walk with a human. That I choose peace, not conquest? Leo nodded. Then I'm with you. Yari, standing nearby, looked worried. This is risky, my queen? Virea spoke firmly. Then let it be. Change is always risky. They flew by small skiff to the broken village. Houses were burned, and a few families hid in caves nearby. Virea walked ahead, and Leo followed close. She met with the village leader, an old woman with scars on her arms and sorrow in her eyes. It was your people, She said to Varaya, "They wore your colors. They are no longer mine." Varaya said, "I came to make it right." The woman looked at Leo. "And him?" "He is not your enemy," Varaya said. "He is your future." The villagers stared. Some whispered. A few turned away. But one child stepped forward and offered Leo a small fruit. Leo knelt to accept it. The villagers stared in silence. Varaya whispered, "Now they see, but far." Away, Thorek was gathering forces. He had not forgotten the arena. He had not forgiven his shame. And now he had a plan, one that would change everything for both Leo and Varaya. Storm clouds gathered above the central camp. The wind was strong, dust flying in sharp swirls. The mood in the warrior tribe had changed. Whispers of rebellion, anger, and betrayal filled the air. And at the center of it all was Leo. He stood beside Varaya, watching the warriors prepare for something unknown. Armor was polished, weapons were checked. And still, no one knew what Thorek would do next, but everyone knew he was coming. Inside the stone meeting hall, the Council of Blades sat in silence. Varaya stood before them, her shoulders strong and face calm. Leo stood just behind her, respectful but alert. One of the elders spoke first. "You have brought danger to our gates, Varaya." Another added, "You walk with a human, and now our warriors break apart." Varaya responded firmly, "It is not the human who broke our warriors, it is the fear of change. Thorek wants the old ways. He wants power through fear." The third elder leaned forward. "And what do you want, Varaya?" "I want a future where we are not ruled by war. I want a future where strength means more than just violence." Silence followed, then the doors swung open. Thorek entered. He was dressed in black armor trimmed with red. His eyes were full of fire. Behind him, 6 armed warriors marched loyal only to him. "Council," Thorek said, bowing just enough to appear respectful. "I come not with weapons, but with truth." One elder raised a hand. "Speak, but do not twist your words." Thorek walked slowly. "Varaya has forgotten who we are. She stands beside a human and speaks of peace. Our ancestors did not build this world with peace. They built it with strength, with control." He turned to the council. "And now, our enemies laugh at us because we welcome weakness into our circle." Leo didn't speak. He kept his eyes on Thorek, waiting. Thorek pointed at Leo. "Challenge me again, human. Or admit that you are no warrior and leave this world forever." The room tensed up, but Varaya stepped forward. "No, this ends today." She looked at the council. "You will decide. Does our future lie in fear and tradition or in trust and change?" The elders leaned together, whispering. After a long moment, the lead elder stood. "Let it be decided by the people," she said. "One final trial. Not of strength, but of leadership." Thorek laughed. "And who judges leadership?" "The people," the elder said. "Tomorrow morning, both of you will speak before the entire tribe. They will decide who leads." Varaya nodded, agreed. Thorek smiled darkly. So be it. That night the camp was restless. Fires burned longer, families gathered, no one could sleep. Leo sat alone near the edge of the camp, looking up at the stars. He heard footsteps. "Varaya again? You should rest," she said. "So should you." Leo replied. She sat beside him. "You've changed this place more than I ever expected," she said quietly. Leo shook his head. "All I did was say no." "That no shook a mountain?" she said with a faint smile. They sat in silence. Then Leo asked, "Do you think they'll choose him?" Varaya's face turned serious. "Many still believe in old power, but some now believe in more." "I just hope they see the truth," Leo whispered. Varaya looked at him. "If they don't, will you leave?" He thought for a long time. "If it keeps the peace, yes." She nodded, but her eyes looked sad. Morning came fast. The entire tribe gathered in the arena, not for battle but for judgment. Varaya stepped forward first. Her voice was strong. "Our world has always been proud. We fight hard, we live hard. But there is a time when even the strongest must change. If we keep fighting, we will lose more than just lives, we will lose our future." She turned to the crowd. "I was once like Thorek. I thought control was the only way, but then I saw another way, not weaker. Just wiser. She stepped back. Now it was Tharek's turn. He marched to the center and raised his fist. I do not speak with soft words. I speak with truth. We are warriors. We kneel to no one, not humans. Not peace, not weakness. Some warriors cheered. Others looked unsure. Tarek pointed at Leo. He does not belong here. The crowd murmured. Then the lead elder stood. Let the people choose. One by one, warriors stepped forward to place their votes marked with colored stones. Red for Thurek, white for VIRE. Leo stood quietly watching. His heart beat fast. The stones were counted. Slowly. In the end, white stones outnumbered. Red, Varea had won. The crowd roared not with war cries, but with something new. Hope. Tharek stood frozen, his fists clenched. But the council blocked his path. Your time is over, the elder said. Varea looked at him. You still have strength, Tharek, but not the strength we need. Tharek said nothing. He turned and walked away. Later, as the sun dipped low, Varea stood beside Leo once more. The tribe chose, she said. They chose you. Leo replied, they chose us, she corrected. He smiled. So, what now? Varea looked out at her people, now gathered peacefully around fires. Now we build something new. And for the first time, Leo felt like he wasn't just a visitor. He was part of something stronger than war. The stars shone brightly over the peaceful camp. The air was cool and calm, a sharp contrast to the tension that had filled this place just days ago. Leo stood beside Varea on a high stone platform. Below them, the tribe gathered not as enemies, but as friends and allies. Children played near fires. Warriors talked quietly. The future was uncertain but hopeful. Varea looked at Leo with a soft smile. You have changed more than my tribe, human, Leo smiled back. And you have changed. Me, she stepped closer. I was wrong to expect you to kneel. Leo shook his head. You were right to ask. But I am a man who stands for what he believes, Varea nodded. And I am a warrior who learns to listen. Suddenly the crowd fell silent. A young warrior stepped forward. It was Sira, the one who had challenged Leo in the trial grounds. She bowed to Varea. Then to Leo. We are ready to swear loyalty to this new way, she said. More warriors stepped forward, one by one, until a large group stood united behind the two leaders. Varea raised her hand. Let this be the beginning of a new era. But peace did not come easily. Far from the camp, in the dark forest, Tharek gathered his followers. His face was hard with anger and pride. They have forgotten what it means to be strong, he said. We will show them the true power of our people. Leo and Varea knew that Tharek's rebellion was only a matter of time. They prepared the tribe not for war, but for defense. They trained new warriors and built strong alliances with nearby villages. Leo learned their language better each day. He taught the warriors about Earth, about human values, about how strength could come from kindness. Varea fought to balance her old warrior instincts with the new path she had chosen. Their friendship grew deeper, built on respect and shared purpose. One night, as they walked beneath the twin moons, Varea stopped and looked at Leo. Will you stay? Leo looked around at the quiet camp. I came here a stranger, he said. But I found a home, Varea smiled. And I have found someone who stands beside me, not beneath me. Leo took her hand gently. Together, he said. They walked back to the camp, ready to face whatever future came. Weeks later, a messenger arrived with news from the outer worlds. The Galactic Council, the great rulers of many planets, had heard of the strange human who refused to kneel and the warrior woman who stood with him. They sent envoys to meet Leo and Varea. The meeting was tense at first, full of suspicion and tests, but Leo's calm words and Varea's strong presence impressed the council. For the first time, a human and an alien warrior woman spoke as equals before the galaxy. Their story spread like wildfire, a tale of courage, respect, and change. Back in the tribe's camp, life flourished. Children played without fear. Warriors trained not just to fight, but to protect. The old wounds of battle began to heal. Leo and Varea worked side by side, leaders of a new world. One day, as they stood watching the sunrise, Varea turned to Leo. Do you remember when I told you to kneel? Leo smiled. Yes. And you said no? He took her hand. And I still say no to fear, to hatred, to giving up? Varaya nodded. Then we will stand together. The stars above witnessed a new bond, one built on trust, courage, and hope, a human and an alien warrior, united not by power or submission, but by respect. And the universe, vast and wide, had never seen anything like it before.